Well, let's talk here about this is the part that I feel like you've been waiting for this entire
the cool
conversation.
one. Yeah.
This is the cool one.
Yeah.
Our next article here, episode 63 of the Team Nerd Tech Show. We're going to have this link up on the website, but at teamnerd.tech, you can dock a SpaceX spacecraft to the ISS with this cool simulator. So talk to me.
That's pretty awesome.
Talk to me about this cool really simulator. Cool. Did you do it? I didn't do it because I couldn't.
I didn't. I just gave it a quick shot so I could talk about it here.
Yeah.
Didn't have a lot of success. Thought, okay, I got to put a little time in on this. This is out at futurism.com, which is one of those websites. I kind of like it, but it's got a lot of weird stuff on it. And you can dock a SpaceX spacecraft. So SpaceX is the stuff from Elon Musk that we hope to take us to the moon. It could be part of the Artemis stuff as the next human manned stuff to the moon, and then maybe onto Mars next. And SpaceX, you can dock it to the ISS, the International Space Station. We just call it the ISS around here because we know what that means.
That's what cool kids call it.
That's what all the cool kids call it, the ISS, but the International Space Station. And it's basically like an old Microsoft flight simulator from years back. Some of you may have played with some of those. Except using your keyboard as joysticks, you can then dock this thing, and the graphics are terrific. They're really good.
Yeah.
And it's really kind of fun to play with. And so, yeah, we'll have the link out there at teamnerd.tech, and it's cool.
Well, the article here, I like. They even have a NASA astronaut that kind of like coaches you in the article as to how to do it. He says here, the flying task, it's very unique. You have to come close to the space station and fly in proximity, and then you slowly come into contact. It's maybe a little bit different from what you'd see from flying a real space shuttle. And when I read that, I was like, oh, okay, because I fly space shuttles all the time. Yeah. Got it. Yeah. But it is a very cool thing. He says, this astronaut here. How do you pronounce his name? Benkin? I'm only reading this and I'm
Bob
not
Benkin. Yep.
Bob Benkin, who's an astronaut from NASA. He says, of course, growing up as a pilot my whole career, having a certain way to control a vehicle, this is different. You think? So it's very cool. You could do the whole docking process. You fly the
so keep in mind you're out there, and here's the things that you're dealing with that are maybe different than like a regular flight simulator. First off, you're out in it's weightless. There's no up or down. You're flying along at 17,000 miles an hour because that's what the orbital speed roughly is.
Okay.
But there's no wind. There's no gravity to pull you down. There's no wind to knock. So you use a little thruster here or thruster there, but the thruster, you're just going to keep on going, right? It's not just it doesn't wear down like it might with gravity or like it might with wind. There's no surface tension on the actual vehicle like there would be in the air. An airplane has friction on it when it's flying through our air. Well, there isn't any up there.
Okay.
There's certainly none to speak of. So the goosing that you do with the little thrusters gets very tricky because it's really easy to overdo and then overdo to compensate. And then you go crashing into it, and that's not good either. So it makes you have to just feather this stuff in. But if you feather it too much, you're never going to make it happening because it's moving too. So it being the ISS is also moving. So it's actually tricky, and it's not in any way like flying a flight simulator here on Earth. Again, no wind, no air, no gravity, no friction. So it's a lot of fun to feel like what it might have felt like, because all the stuff with the space shuttle, the stuff now when SpaceX goes up to the ISS, it's all done with a joystick, and just a single joystick of just little tips to actually make the dock happen, because they don't want to go crashing into it. That's not going to help anything. So to just fit it into the slot that it has to go and then have the clamps clamp on is tricky to do, but it's a joystick or a couple of joysticks that are just controlling thrusters for your elevation and all those kind of things. It gives you a little bit of a feel of what it might have been like to actually fly a space shuttle and or one of the spaceships now and actually make that dock happen. Tricky stuff, man.
Very cool. So if you ever wanted to know what it felt like to be a actual pilot of a spacecraft, go on to futurism.com. Like I said, we're going to have that link, episode 63 at the teamnerd.tech for this episode. Pretend to be a space astronaut for at least a little bit. Well, Tim, I think that actually has to end our show here today. We're going to end it on this cool astronaut simulator that we encourage everybody to check out. But let's get together again next week and we can chat about all the cool stuff that's happened recently in tech news.
Thank you. I'll be here.
All right.
Look for
it. Sounds good. See you then.
Yep.